Welcome to the Small Town Times podcast. This one's all about mothers. And I have Lori Laporte here. We're going to talk about the strong women in her family. This is a follow-up from our previous interview with Leah Bale, her aunt, and Ross Sawyer, who is a good friend of the family, talking about Nipissing Junction and the history there. And the Laportes are well known, and I'm glad to have you, Lori.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Good timing for a podcast about mothers with Mother's Day coming up.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about some of the other aspects of your family and the important role that the women in your family played. So tell me a little bit more.
Yes. So the women were the workers. So I'm going to have some men say to me, "Oh yeah," but anybody that knows me knows how I work. Mm-hmm. I got that from my mother, my Aunt Leah, and my grandmother. So it just comes naturally.
Well, let's start with your grandmother.
My grandmother, she had a really cool name, Christina Campbell Kerr Mackenzie. I thought it was a pretty cool name. She married a Laporte. Mm-hmm. So she was very, very tiny. So everybody used to call her Tina, just short form for Christina, obviously. But she was a whirlwind. And I mean, that's all I knew. When we were younger, that's all our grandparents did was work. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was quite a bit older when he got married. And when my dad and my uncle and my aunt came along, he was already, I believe he was 40 when he had my dad. So 45 when my aunt was born. So then when us kids came along, he was, in his, I would say, mid to late 60s.
Wow. And
so, becoming a grandfather for the first time. So, he was quite a bit older and always sick when we were young. So it was just, we just saw our grandmother do all the work. And the same with Aunt Leah. She was, I don't know, I aspire to be like her. We always say if we can be as good as, in as good a shape as Aunt Leah at that age, it's a bonus. And I believe out of everybody in the family, I probably take after her the most.
She's 81, eh?
She is 81, and although she is having a little bit of heart trouble right now, she's still she's a volunteer extraordinaire.
Yeah, she's the same age as my mom.
Yeah, so she's she never stops. So I really look up to her. She was a very, very hard worker. She worked at the garden center until she was in her 70s. And we do 7 days a week, morning till night, and she did that, for most of her life.
And I think she's still she's on the Legion executive, right? At West Ferris Legion. I saw a photo the other day.
I believe she was just voted in, like whatever the
reappointed or something like that.
Yeah. Or I'm not sure she wanted to do that, but not that she didn't want to volunteer, but I just think, she is thinking about slowing down, and I think she should. I think she should travel. I think she should,
Yeah, does she want to travel? Do you know?
I don't think so, which, my Uncle Dennis lives in California, and I think she should go and spend some winters there. I mean, it's great there. They have the best of all worlds.
Well, I don't know about that. California is sort of topsy-turvy on weather. Its economics are pretty messed up. It depends on where you are.
Well, they live in a small, just a suburb of Los Angeles called Monrovia, and it's right at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains. It's beautiful,
right?
But they go and they do Tai Chi in the park in the morning. Where they live, it's a really beautiful area. They do square dancing. What are some of the other line dancing? So they're involved in all kinds of stuff. There's a little town right beside called Arcadia, and they really cater to that age group. So they're both in their 80s, very, very active in the community. So they think it's okay.
Are they coming up this summer?
So I believe they are. They usually come up every 2 years, but as they age, my uncle wants to be around family. They didn't have kids, so I guess I wouldn't say I'm their kid, but I stay in touch with them a lot. And I would love to have them. They always drive their motor home up and just park it at my garage. And my son-in-law put in the proper plugs. He's an electrician, so he put in the proper plugs for them to plug in everything so they can run everything. But and of course it's a house on wheels. It's just got everything in it, leather furniture. It's beautiful.
So a little bit more about your mom.
My mom. So all my growing up years, my mother worked underground at Sage.
What was her name?
Bev Laporte.
Right. Okay.
So, but she great sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's probably where my sister got it from.
What did she do at the Sage?
So she was a telephone operator underground.
Must have had some interesting stories.
Oh gosh, yeah. And actually, there's only one lady left from that group that worked underground there, and you might want to interview her.
Who's that?
Her name is Marlene Botwright. Funny lady. She's in her 90s and still is like a
that would make an
going.
interview.
She's. I just went and
visited
her.
There?
Yes, for years. They knew each other their whole life.
Oh wow.
But they had a bird underground. They always had a parakeet, and they taught the bird to talk.
Of course.
Oh, I guess I can't say it online. I won't say it.
Go ahead.
No, they taught the bird to say "fuck off." So
no
when the generals would come in, the bird would talk. Anyways, his name was Sam Sage. Yeah.
No kidding.
Guess how he died? Marlene sat on him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Anyways, but no, it was like, for my mom, it was not a job. It was a social outing.
No kidding.
She loved her job, yeah. And so all those ladies, because when they went down there, they couldn't leave. They would go down there and that's where they stayed for the day.
For those that don't know, the Sage was the underground NORAD complex that's no longer operational, and they have an above-ground NORAD complex that protects our skies over North America.
Yeah. So my mom had lots of stories, but so she always entered at the South Portal. And I don't know if you've ever been on that bus. Have you ever taken that drive?
I took it from the top down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, it's there's this much room on either side.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah. So she worked underground at Sage. She did take a leave of absence for a few years when my dad first took over the garden center from my grandparents. And she didn't like working for him, so it didn't last long. But
it doesn't always go well.
No, because the women were the workers. That's what I was telling you. So yeah, I can remember my mom. They were working away, bagging soil and bagging trees, and she looks outside, and there's my dad driving by with some of the neighbors, and he's waving at her as he goes by. Oh, yeah, she's madder than a hornet's nest. So.
Well, Mother's Day is coming up, so I'm not going to try to defend the men.
No, don't. No, again, when I was a kid, my grandpa was older, but my grandpa he sat at the garden center, pretty much at the cash. It was my grandmother that did all the work, and she worked right up until the day before she died. Wow. She was 76 years old. And she worked in that hot greenhouse. We called it Grandma's greenhouse. It was the houseplant and geranium greenhouse, which was the hottest greenhouse of them all. And she didn't show up for work that morning. And so we kept calling her because we all worked together. And it was Aunt Leah, because she lives right across from where the Legion is. That was their house. And Aunt Leah went and checked on her at noon, and she had gotten up in the morning, made her coffee, opened up the curtains, and sat and passed away very quickly, very peacefully.
Oh, wow.
So, it was, but yeah, she did that right till the day she died. So
that's a good way to go, actually.
Well, really?
There's a lot worse.
There is a lot worse. She, because at that time, the coroner had to pronounce you. And so my dad called the police, so that they could have her pronounced at home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the ambulance has to take you and you're pronounced at the hospital. So
Yeah.
in order to say peacefully at home,
Mm-hmm.
so we sat with her body until the coroner got there, and the coroner was from South River or Sunridge at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we waited for Dr. Clark to get there to pronounce her, and we all sat with her. It was,
It's not unnatural.
no,
Right? It's
because that's what we did. We went and had coffee with Grandma every night. So it was a normal occurrence to go and, so yeah, it was, and it wasn't, I was sad to lose my grandmother, but it wasn't traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like some deaths can be. So
very traumatic.
it was very calm and so, and that's, she was 76.
Wow.
And that was right in, would have been June. So very busy time for the garden center, but.
And she didn't book off properly for holidays.
No,
there.
she didn't.
Slacking off.
Yeah.
At the busy
But yeah,
time.
she worked right up until the day before she died. So
Yeah. That's cool.
yeah.
Well,
So
tell me some more stories about your mom and the sage. Any?
well, so again, so I don't know. Some people might not know what this is, but my mom had narcolepsy, which is a sleeping disorder.
Right.
So a narcoleptic, when they fall asleep, they immediately go into a REM sleep, but they wake up often. No, they'll wake up after 20 minutes, so they never feel rested.
I think
So
I
I-
have that.
I grew up with a mom that had that, and it was my sister and I were just used to it. Even the dog knew. Dogs he was so close to my mom. He knew if she was going to all of a sudden collapse. The dog just knew. It's funny because we lived next door to the garden center at that time, and so the dog went to work with her. It was just, and if the dog came back and was whining, we knew something was wrong. So and it's not that she would hurt herself. It's just they do it like, in a lot of times narcolepsy is controlled by your emotions. So if you laugh really, really like something really, really funny to you, they will just have a seizure.
No,
So yeah. I could tell you some stories about my family because my grandmother had narcolepsy, and then she had 4 girls.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had it. The second girl didn't. The third girl did. The fourth didn't. So 3 out of the family had it, and they were. My Aunt Linda probably had it the worst, and you could be shopping with her in the store and something like, because they all had sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one time she went to dress up a mannequin or something, and she laughed so hard that down she went. And of course, everybody comes running, and we're all just like, "Oh, don't worry about her." But that was, very common. So, anyways,
Wow.
my mom, So, underground at Sage, so they knew that she had that, and she was allowed to take naps. So they even had an area in the operating for her to take a nap, because she had to have that. Just like and all she needed was 20 minutes, and she'd be good to go. But
A little power nap.
yeah, a little power nap.
Yeah.
And
Cat
we
naps. Yeah.
just grew up knowing she had to have that, and so heat also will bring that on.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it's funny.
Anybody in your family now have that?
Yeah. So now the aunt that didn't have it, her daughter,
Oh, okay. So it skips a
and
generation.
the other aunt that didn't have it, her son.
Oh,
So yeah,
interesting.
very interesting. So, and it doesn't seem to have affected any of our children. So it seemed to, like my girls, nothing so far. It usually shows up during childbearing years. My girls, nothing, and I think pretty much everyone in the family, their kids, none of them have it, and they've all got kids. So
Yeah. So you have 2 girls?
I have 2 girls.
Yeah. And they have children?
They have children. I have a 16-year-old grandson, and then that's with my older daughter, and my younger daughter has an 11 and an 8-year-old. So,
I'm going to have to ask you not to swivel too much because I think that one squeaks if you can hear it.
it's probably, I fractured my heel. That's
Okay.
my boot.
Oh, that's your boot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyways,
Sorry
so
about
the
that.
girls, very close to my girls. I live next door to one.
Well, I've met them. They're very, very smiley, very a lot of personality.
Yeah.
That must run in your family too.
Yeah. Yeah. My cousins, we all have the same sixth sense of humor, and every single one of us.
So the hard work ethic, it's run right through the family, right?
Yeah, but you know what?
Doesn't touch the guys, but right in.
Well, I have some male cousins that are hard workers, but it really was the females as far as the garden center goes.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, up until she took sick and died, she worked 7 days a week right along with me. So yeah, that's what we're used to, and it seems to be on that side of the family. Like I can't say, I'm not at all saying on my mom's side of the family they don't work. I'm not meaning that, but
Be careful.
Yeah, got to be careful. But the Laporte side, because they were farmers, yeah, that's I think that's just ingrained in us. And you either the kind of job that I do, if you didn't love it, you couldn't do it. Because really, who can work those hours unless you love it? You have to love your job. And I really do. There isn't a day that I don't want to go to work. I mean, are there some days where I'm tired? Yeah. Like we unloaded a tractor trailer load of trees yesterday. It's first big truck of the season. Yeah. And I'm feeling it, but I was still in there at 7 this morning. So
I always wanted to be in landscape, and I always cut grass. I always loved doing that. I wasn't built for it. I got the one bad leg. I'd do that, and I would. I'd be involved with building up yards. I love doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's good work. I like working outside, so I can see the appeal. Right? Yes,
well, I have an accounting degree.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it outside. That was how I met Mike Jelinas. I taught accounting.
Right.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't like teaching at all.
For those that don't know, Mike Jelinas was selling ads for me at the Back in the Bay magazine, and he ended up selling you an ad, right?
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah.
And he was at the college,
the Canadian Career College,
CTS.
Yeah.
I tried teaching there too.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Well, I taught a few classes actually. I taught accounting, and I taught the programs for accounting. So I taught Simply Accounting. I also taught ACPAC, which is more for large corporations. And then I taught it's kind of an accounting software for law.
Oh.
The thing is, I didn't have really the law background, so I can read a program, and then I was able to teach it if it's based on accounting.
I bought the Sage one. You ever heard of that one?
Sage. Well, Sage is the largest accounting software in the world.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet.
No, well, I can help you with that. That's what I taught. That Sage is Simply and ACPAC.
Oh, okay.
It's the largest software system in the world, and it's a Canadian program. It was created by Canadians. So, that's...
I had good intentions of learning it.
Well, you know what? As far as user-friendly, so Simply Accounting is more for small business. Simply Accounting is all integrated, so it's pretty good. If you put something into accounts payable, it automatically updates your general ledger, all your accounts. ACPAC, on the other hand, is designed in modules so that the person that's doing accounts payable would never have access to accounts receivable or would never have access to payroll. So it's only for large companies so that no one person has control of the whole accounting system.
Accounting is what kept me from a business administration career. I couldn't. talk about sleeping in those classes.
Really?
The teachers at Cambridge College, when I took business there, they said, "You're nothing like your sister," because my sister was a real bookworm and very smart and studious, and I was not. And accounting class was where I caught up on my sleep.
Oh, okay. See, I liked the accounting.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's everybody has their thing.
Yes, but as far as the gardening, I love the people. I love working outside.
Your customers they're more women than men?
Yes, I would say that, but the demographics is really changing over time.
Mm-hmm.
This is 100% how it is. Guys really like a pristine lawn, and anything edible. They don't like paying for flowers.
Oh yeah,
but they'll pay for nice
grass have some practicality
and food.
Yeah.
So women are who want it to look beautiful.
Decorative.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's but a nice grass nowadays very, very hard to achieve.
Oh yeah.
With the cost of water.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't water it, it's not going to look good.
I like the color brown.
You like the color brown?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Brown is normal in the summer.
Sure
in the
is.
heat of the summer.
Yeah.
All that happens is your grass goes dormant.
Yeah.
So as soon as we start getting high dew content in the fall again, or we start getting rain again, it comes again. So
when I bought my house out in Corbeil, they had it manicured. They had all these ornamental little cedar ground things, chips, the whole bit.
Yeah.
They had clear cut the bush and did all that. And as soon as I came in, I planted 70 trees. And I just cut around where the mower will go, right? And everything else just grows right in. I like the wildflowers, right? But also don't like spending money. So.
Well, spending money now, I was, I know everybody's having a hard time. The cost of groceries, the cost of gas.
Yeah, it's tough out there.
It is. And
how does that affect a small business person like yourself?
Oh, it's really affected. I was very, very careful. I lowered prices where I could. The margins are not very big on live product because if you don't sell it, you throw it out.
Wow.
So there's not high margins on that, so it has to move. So I was very careful on that. I kept things at the same price where I could, but we're a want, not a need.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very careful.
Right.
I am the dealer for the CR Plastics in the area. It's expensive furniture. It's patio furniture. It's expensive, but it's guaranteed for life.
Right.
You don't have to cover it. You don't have to put it away. So you get what you pay for as far as that goes. It's, there's no maintenance in it. All you do is wash it with soap and water. It's, so as far as that goes.
Do they make anything not in the Adirondack style? Because I can't even get out of those once I get into them.
Yeah, actually, I'm carrying one it's called Upright.
Oh, okay.
And same thing. I'm aging.
No way.
60, gonna be 62 now. But I'm aging, and I same thing. I find it hard to get out of them. So the Upright, you're sitting more upright. The Classic, you drop down into it. So yeah, I'm pretty much only stocking the Upright.
Mm-hmm.
But there's lots of things like there's porch rockers which are very comfortable. But again, the pricing it is expensive, but
you
it
only
lasts.
mine at once.
Yeah, you're not, and it's not hot to the touch like wood is.
Right.
Have you ever walked on some of those? What is that, composite decking?
Yeah, I don't like that stuff.
You can't go bare feet on that.
No. It's
Whereas this furniture, even the black, chocolate brown, slate gray, you can put your arm on it and it's warm.
How do they achieve that?
So it's 100% recycled plastic.
Oh, yeah. So a different kind of plastic.
Yeah. So it's this company here. This is a Canadian company.
We're doing a business podcast now, by the way. If you don't like that, go to the end.
It's based on, they're based out of Stratford, Ontario. And this is the company that is taking that floating mass out of the ocean
Oh,
and recycling it.
oh.
So it's very eco-friendly. It's, so that I look at it that
Well, that's a
it's
good
a
selling
good
point
thing.
these days.
a
Right.
good thing all around.
Yeah.
So
As long as it doesn't have that PFAS stuff in there.
no, they're very it's eco-friendly, it's sustainable. It's really
Right.
good product.
You pretty soon you're going to see PFAS-free products because
Oh, boy.
it's a big, scary thing for
I-
everybody. Hard to tell.
The world is scary.
Yeah, it's a scary world out there.
It really is. God.
Yeah. So Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
while we're into the business mode for the podcast,
I
what's a
wish
good
I
thing-
still had my mummy around to spoil her.
Yeah, I bet you.
Yeah.
When did she
Yeah.
pass?
She passed away April 3rd, 2007.
Hmm.
Year and a half after my sister. So I wish I could spoil her. So when people are, being a little bit impatient with their parents or whatever, I'm like, wow.
Did you see? You probably don't have time to read my newsletter, but I had a Zen suggestion in there last week about Mother's Day, and I said, "Don't wait till Mother's Day."
Yes, I did
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't wait till Mother's Day. I mean, if my mom was, I went and saw my mom every day.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't work at the garden center the last 30 or 35 years. But I brought her a coffee every morning. A Tim Hortons coffee. Everybody knew me. I bought the same thing every day and brought that to her before I started work.
Right.
So yeah, I'd like to still be doing that. But
Where was she living at that time?
so, where the old garden center is. So they were living in the house that I grew up in. So after my dad passed away, my daughter and son-in-law bought that, and I moved into the house beside where the garden center was. So, but yeah, I would.
I was just talking to my mom, and it would be nice if she lived in this town.
Yeah.
So anybody that has their mother in the same town,
Absolutely.
lucky you.
Lucky. Very lucky. Yeah. I would still be going to see her every day. So, yeah. Yeah.
Now, when it was funny in the magazine on the feature on Nipissing Junction, there was a picture of your dad and Ross
Yeah.
with that dog,
The dog Hunter. Yeah.
and I didn't realize that it was those two. I had just taken that photo. It was one of Ross's photos, and I just cropped it down to the dog, and I just left in those two,
Yeah.
just because they were beside it. But I'm gonna have to add that in. It's a really cool picture. Tell me a little bit about your dad, even though
Yeah.
this is Mother's Day podcast.
Yeah. My dad was awesome. I was lucky. I got to work with my parents day in and
Right.
day out. Like, lots of people say to me, "How did you do it?" Well, did we have rough moments? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I upset him. He upset me. My dad was very, very strict. He didn't have boys. He had girls.
Right.
And he expected us to work like boys. That's just how it was.
Right.
Both my sister and I rose to the occasion. So we were both strong. But my dad was a good sense of humor too. But he was very strict with us, and he was. But my dad, one thing, never ever lied. So I so looked up to that, and that's and aspire to do that. So I aspire to always be honest, even if it means that I'm talking someone out of buying something, because honesty always is the best policy. I don't believe in selling something just because it's a sale. And my dad ingrained that in my brain. So you always be honest. So if they don't need something, when they're buying grass seed, the automatic inclination is to sell lime with it to sweeten the soil and fertilizer. But, if they don't need it, you tell them that they can buy it, but if they don't need it, it's not about making the sale. My dad just believed that you always be honest with people, and that they'll remember that. And my dad was
Can they have too much lime?
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, in your lawn, it's worse for it to be too alkaline than too acidic.
Right.
So my dad would just always it's not about making a dollar. It's about the customer being a repeat customer and coming back because you're honest. So my dad was very big.
That's a
big
good
in that.
policy.
Yeah. So,
As a mother and grandmother in 2024, Jesus, what is it like with the world changing the way it is? And you have grandkids. We got these ubiquitous phones. They're sort of ruling everybody's lives, and those addictions. What do you think about all that?
well, I have a hard time with it because I didn't grow up with a computer.
Yeah.
My first computer, Ed gave it to me when I was in my 20s.
Right.
So I was maybe, 27 or 28, and he gave me his old computer. But so I wasn't raised with any of that. I don't think even now, someone will ask me a question and I'll go to a book first or to my memory.
Right.
And somebody will say, just Google it. Well, I don't Google really anything. Google is a person's opinion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
So I just don't go to that. But my grandchildren, my oldest grandson, 16, he is a gamer. He's got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he wants to be an electrician, but that does the coding.
Right.
So I'm trying to think of what that would be called. I'm not sure. I'm not techie.
Coding.
Electrical technician.
Technologist, technician.
Yeah, there's something, because my one son-in-law is an electrician, and has told my grandson Arthur the courses to take, and has told him to go to the coding part of it because that's where the future is. Things are just going to be so much different than what we're used to. And then my younger grandchildren, oh my goodness, my daughter and son-in-law kept technology away from them as long as they could. But, you need it for school now. And then, of course, when COVID hit, the online learning, they had to have all that. My youngest grandson, boy, oh boy, he just hates school. Because his introduction to it was online learning, and he hated it.
Yeah.
You couldn't get him to sit at it. Now you can't get him away from it. So it's complete opposite. He would be glued to his iPad if he could.
Yeah, isn't that sad? Yeah.
It really is. Now, my son-in-law just bought him a set of rollerblades, and just got him out on the Cape Paceway, which goes right by my house. And wow.
How old is he?
He's just going to be 8.
Okay.
And because he plays hockey, you couldn't get him to ride a bike, but boy, can he go on those rollerblades.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So no, he's...
I'd love to get him away from the couch.
Yes. And so my son-in-law is pretty much taking him every night. So great.
Yeah.
But technology, from what I've seen...
Changing the way you can raise kids.
Yes. The sad thing is I think people use it as a babysitting tool. Honestly. And you couldn't get me to get on it. I'd rather be outside. I'm not a computer person. And so
definitely
I do struggle with
a
it.
lazy parenting thing. And the parents are on the phones a lot now too, right? They've come up through that age.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say it's bad because that's what they're doing. And you can't be focusing in on the same thing. So each of them are on a device.
Yeah. Well, I have to, my son-in-law might not like it if I say this, but it's called honesty. I was up in Timmins and my daughter and I are sitting on the couch and she gets a text message.
Yeah.
It's my son-in-law upstairs. Honey, can you make me something to eat? We laugh about it now, but I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
That's not right. Yeah.
But that's just how it is.
That's just the way it is. You can't fight certain things, and there's no use anyways. I remember writing columns and mentioning it. This is going to be bad, right? This is in the 2005, 2007, 2008. Things were really taking off with the smartphones, I think, 2008, 2009. And I'm like, oh, I can see this changing people already. Even when they had the Blackberries, it was like constant this, that. And when I made those comments in my columns, people would say, just get with the world. It's changing. There's nothing wrong with it. This is just the way it is. And I said, no, I see this being very, very, and it's changed even the way I'm kind of sucked into it. I make my living online and digital world. And it's scary.
Well, yeah. And that unfortunately is how things are going. And, I had to, when COVID hit, I had to learn right quickly how to post things online or, I'm not saying we wouldn't have survived, but you have to get your name out there. That was the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I've become pretty good at. I'm an early riser, so I get up in the morning, make a coffee, I sit and I do my posts, and then I get dressed and go to work.
Yeah.
I don't look at it really again until maybe at night I might answer things, or if I stop for a few minutes. But
that's not a bad practice.
I'm
anyways.
I'm not sitting on my phone. I'm my job, kind of hard to do that. So I'll have lots of people messaging me, hey, are you there? Like, yeah, I am. Just come and see me. You know where to find me. That's, you'll get an answer out of me quicker doing that, but not by,
got to drop in.
Not on the phone. Just,
don't expect me to be glued to it.
Right? Yeah. And I just can't. I mean, yesterday when we were unloading the tractor trailer load of trees, I had the phone in my pocket, but it got unanswered a few times. We were up in the tractor. Sometimes I couldn't even hear it. So you want to see me or you want something from me, most times you're better off to come and see me.
Speaking of trees, so what's a good fruit tree for around here? Something.
Actually, lots. There's we have 6 or 7 different types of apples.
Mm-hmm.
Plums, pears, cherries.
Oh yeah.
Blueberries, hascap, currant, kiwis. There's kiwis that grow here too.
No way.
Yeah, they're not fuzzy kiwis like you get from Australia, but yeah,
No kidding.
they're hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they expensive?
No, I think it's under $20 for a plant. But like anything with fruit, you need male and female.
Right.
So with blueberries, you need 2 different varieties. An apple, 2 different kinds of apple. Just so the cross-pollination, so the bees can do their thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cherries, anything like that.
No wonder my single apple tree hasn't done very well. I was wondering. I thought it was the soil.
It needs a girlfriend or a boyfriend, either one.
I thought it was I got a lot of clay and rock, so I thought it was the soil.
Not always. That clay can be. Like clay when it's like at this time of year would be so wet, holding the moisture. But then when it dries out, it can be like cement.
Yeah.
So could be, but yeah, it needs a mate.
There you go. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
I was thinking about trying to get something that grow some fruit. I saw the Clean Green and Beautiful. They have their little nursery.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they were just doing something with that this weekend or this week.
On what street does my son-in-law's Regina? Just the street before Regina. Is it Hammond? Hammond? Yeah. Yeah. So it's where the Cape Paceway goes right through it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you're a regular here on the podcast. This is like your 3rd visit here, I think, or is it? You were here for the one we were talking about the people that were stealing and stuff. How's things going there?
Well,
and that would be the unhoused that are camping out around there, and they were stealing things.
Yeah. Well, the owner of the trailer park that's beside the storage unit next to me.
Mm-hmm.
So he's come to town because he's having trouble with the people in the trailer park. I probably shouldn't even say that, but they haven't paid their rent. And so he's trying to evict them, but it's very hard to do that now.
Yeah.
Very hard to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe he's having trouble with them. But winter's over now, so it's going to start up again.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure.
I've got cameras everywhere, so I see you.
Well, you're learning to adapt to the new reality, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's no consequences, so it's just going to keep happening.
And you were here with Helen Ing, and when it was and sort of in preparation for a story for the magazine in the winter. How's she doing?
She's doing good, actually. I'm having dinner with her tonight at Eastside Mario, so I try to see her. I try to get together with her once a week. Mm-hmm. She was a teenage bride and never spent any time away from him.
Right.
And so struggled with his death. Mm-hmm. But she's doing good. She's doing good. She's bored. It would be like me trying to, go from working 7 days a week and just stop dead. That's how it is for her. She's bored. So I keep telling her she should get a part-time job or, keep herself busy.
Yeah, you got to keep busy.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking, and I'm not sure if we're going to go ahead with it, but I was going to get some T-shirts made up and stock them at your store. Are you still interested in that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was thinking of putting North Bay across the top with a shad fly.
Yeah.
But keep the back and the bay in the back.
Yeah.
Would that work?
And I think so. And I think that, North Bay is known for that. Yeah. So yes,
there's not enough stuff for the tourists to buy about North Bay. I hear that all the time.
There's nothing. Yeah. So it's I think it's a great idea, and we are known for that. They don't bite.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. It means our lake's healthy.
Yeah,
I look at it, all the positives of it.
Well, last year it was a light load for shad flies.
So you know what that means, right?
Yeah, not good.
It means it's going to be a good one this year.
That too. Or the lake's not as healthy. We always used to mention heavy shad flies and say that means the lake's healthy. And when we didn't have shad flies a couple times or of a light load, it was like we didn't do the story saying, wonder what's wrong with the lake.
But I think, as we become more aware and clean up, with Clean Green Beautiful, I think it's just wonderful what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that will, it's got to help, cleaning up the area so that the garbage doesn't end up in the lake. We all have to do our part.
Well, when you keep in place clean of litter and other stuff, then you start looking at other pollutants, which is the worst part about the lake. Yeah. Like that PFAS now, it's a big issue. And obviously, if it's coming down from the airport, Lees Creek, getting into Trout Lake and going through the water plant and going to homes, it's going into Nipissing. Yeah. And we're not sure about how that affects things as far as the fish go. I guess they're going to have to do some more testing.
But are they, so where the water treatment plant is on Memorial, have they not just redone, or they're doing something there so that the water that gets treated?
Yeah, but there's no treatment there for this particular chemical, this plastic chemical. Okay. Now there's treatment unless there's a big rainstorm where they have to let it out a little bit more than they like before it settles. I don't know the science. City guys can tell me about it, but I think they have to do a whole bunch more about that. The ship plant. Okay. Yeah.
So it goes back to, they were very strict about not having plastic bags, these one-shot deals. I don't know why we don't restrict a lot of things. You look at the packaging with things. Pack it in, biodegradable packaging.
Yeah. I was just looking at a story about the biodegradable plastics and how it's being more adopted in other countries and being enforced, right? So rather, you can make plastics from organics rather than the polymers from the oil, right? Mm-hmm. And but it has to be instituted. Yeah.
Yes. And the problem is that to switch everything over is going to be expensive.
Well, the big problem is that the oil companies make money off of that because it's a derivative from their processes, right? So they want a market for it.
Yeah.
the recycling and everything isn't working. It's very negligible impacts. So you got to change the way plastics are made and stop making stuff out of the what's the polymers, the oils.
Yeah. But that changeover would be expensive, though.
Yeah, Well, we have to do it. Otherwise, your grandkids are going to have to do it, and it's an important thing. I use. I'm not really your best example of somebody, but the paper bags. There's nothing wrong with those if they can make them so that they don't tear so quickly. Unfortunately, they should be making out of hemp, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at the hemp as far as it could solve a lot of the problems.
Absolutely.
As far as having material to make things. There's one other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the contest we just co-chaired is for the Ferris the Place to Be, Ferris Business Network. We handed off the prize to the winner, Jerry Curry.
Yes.
The only one to get the right date, April 6th, and the question right. And he came and picked up his prize package last Saturday.
Yes. No, it was lovely to meet him too.
Yeah, seemed like a nice guy.
He was really excited about it.
Yeah, he's here. I guess he was saying that he's from Seattle or Colorado. Anyways, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't he say
in
he's
the
from
States?
out west?
Yeah.
And then he's here because his girlfriend or wife.
Wife, she's from here.
Yeah. So an import.
So no, it was
It was nice, and he enjoyed the magazines. It's nice to see somebody that comes from somewhere else and makes their home here.
Oh, absolutely.
And first contest he said that he's ever entered? Or won anyways. First one he's won.
First one that he's won. That's good. Good for him. Yeah.
What else was in that prize package?
So there was a bag from World Gym with a membership, I believe, and it had a gym bag. There was a water bottle, a few things in it. There was snowshoes from Giant Tiger. There was a gift basket from Home Hardware as well as a gift certificate. There was a gift certificate from Metro. There was a gift certificate for lunch for two and breakfast for two from Terry's. I believe there was a nice gift bag from the casino.
Yeah, Cascades.
Yep. And a few other gift cards. So
along with one of those eco-friendly chairs that you were talking about.
So I put a chair in there. So I hope he could put it together okay. So
I'm sure
I'll
he'll
check
figure
with
it
him.
out. He looks like an industrious guy, right?
Yeah. Well, if I can do it.
He showed up with a trailer, right?
Yeah.
So
thinking that. Yeah.
It's not without means.
Yeah. So no, it was a really good prize package. So it was
like almost $3,000 worth.
Yeah. So that was exciting. Great, good for him.
I think we'll do a little bit better with the contest next year as far as organizing, and we learned a little bit. I think there was like 170 online entrants, and 90 paper ones, or I think something like that. It's very close. So almost 300.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have the ballots at all the stores, and we'll do a little bit different.
Yeah, well, first time. There's you learn.
Yeah, and who knows if the ice was going to stay longer, we might have had more, right?
Well, right. It was, well,
it might be coming back with this weather we're getting.
Well, this kind of temperatures, it would make ice, that's for sure. Pretty cold.
I know you're not a cold climate person.
I do not like to be cold. Whew. I'm crabby. I don't like being wet either. So it's double whammy.
Wet and cold.
Oh,
right on.
Yeah. No, yesterday we got the truck unloaded and it started raining the last half hour. So there wasn't too much complaining, but it was not too bad up till then. Whew. This morning was brutal.
I don't like the cold rain either. It hurts my bones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we talk about enough of the women in your family?
Well, I think so. You know what? You just have to think about my mom, my grandma, and my Aunt Leah. Like I said, I aspire to be like her. If I can be in as good a shape as her at that age, I'll know I've done everything right. So I think she's an awesome lady. So,
And the general message is make sure you appreciate the women in your family, and the mothers,
yeah.
and those that help mothers, I guess, right?
Yeah.
'Cause not everybody can be one.
No, that's true. That's true. It's my sister passed away, so I'm a mom to my nephew Eric.
Hmm.
He didn't have her around since he was 19, so
Yeah.
I stepped in and became mom. So, I think of him as my own. So, that's I pretty much hear from him every day. So just love it. So.
Lisa Boyvan's show, To North Bay with Love, is going to have a special Mother's Day edition episode coming out. Scott Clark and I and a few others from the staff here are going to tell some Mother's Day type stories.
Yeah.
We actually yesterday did a dry run, and we were recording a banter for the Echo Essentials podcast. And Scott and I both told some stories about our mums, and I ended up a blubbery idiot there. Like I was near tears. It's so that probably won't air. It's
Wow.
well.
You're lucky to have your mom.
Yeah.
I'd give anything to still have her here and spoil her rotten. That's what I would do.
Well, so
Yeah.
there you go. Spoil your mom. That's
Yeah.
the word of the day. Don't wait for Mother's Day.
No, do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lori.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.